Good afternoon, all you beautiful people out for a beautiful walk on this beautiful day. So today, as you may have guessed, is going to be a full day of eating. However, unlike other full day of eatings, I am probably eating a more normal person amount of food. We've had a food drop. So my weight has been dropping. I've went from 85 kilo when the last time I spoke to you, and now I'm mid 84s. So I've had, like, on average, my weight this week has actually dropped by a kilo. However, Brad, we were talking a bit, and he mentioned that, realistically, we do have 11 weeks now, 11 weeks until the first show, and we need to be about 78, 79. So I have about 5 or 6 kilos left to lose. So that means we need to pick up the pace a little bit. Now, Brad, he didn't actually want to change much. He recommended, we stick with our previous calories, which were just below 2,700 for 5 days a week. Continue with the high day of 3-4 or around that, and then have one very, very low day at 2,000. Okay. However, he asked me my opinion on that. I thought it would be easier for us to just say, nah, as opposed to doing one very low day, I'd rather just slash my calories across the board. So my calories now are 2,350, so pretty much a 300 calorie reduction from 6 days a week, keeping with the same high day. So protein is 200, carbs are 275, and fat is at 50. So this could potentially be the last calorie drop I have before prep is over. Especially considering how quick my weight has started to drop already. So again, about a kilogram of weight loss over the last week, which is mad considering how lean I am now. I'm definitely in the position where I am going between feeling big when I have a pump, and then outside of the gym I just kind of feel a bit flat and kind of small. But I mean, this is part of prep, and it's part of getting lean as well, like feeling those feelings of being flat. So yeah, a big change. It's about a 1,900 calorie drop across the entire week. However, we're probably going to start to see things accelerate quite a bit, and we need to, because I still do have a bit of body fat to lose. Even though I am quite lean now, I'm not stage lean, so we do need to drop the hammer, so to speak. So yeah, I'm going to continue on my walk now. I'm going to see you at breakfast. So it's going to be a full day of eating. You're going to see how my diet has changed, because I think the last full day of eating I did was a rest day, which is also my high day, but the previous one to that was probably around 2,900 calories that I actually posted here. I didn't post a full day of eating when I was on the 2,700. So you will see there's been a good change in some of my meals in terms of portion sizes, in terms of sources, and I'm going to go through some of the logic behind some of the changes as well. Okay, definitely going to discuss the likes of energy density, food volume, different types of ways that you can essentially make the diet a little bit easier for yourself. Because yeah, I suppose I am on more like normal person calories now for weight loss, so I say a lot of people are going to get some use from this video. So yeah, I'll catch you at breakfast and talk soon. All right, we are home from our walk, so it's time for breakfast, the best meal of the day. So keeping with a similar theme to as I have been at home for the most part. So I'm having bacon, eggs and mushrooms. All right, so I've taken out one egg and I've added in 75 grams of egg whites. So again, my fats have gone down, so keeping in 3 eggs just for the sake of keeping in 3 eggs, probably not the best use of calories there. And I do need to strip fat out somewhere, so eggs are going to provide me with about 4 or 5 grams of fat per egg. So having 2 of them, so I'm still getting in some decent fats there. However, I'm keeping up the protein and actual volume with the egg whites. So again, I want to keep my meals in and around a similar size, so adding in some higher volume foods is going to help me do that. So the mushrooms, again, they're just going to add some more volume to the meal, fill up the plate, and yeah, I'll show you when it's done. So there we go. There is meal 1, part 1, ready to go. So I do have oats to come after this, but one thing that's actually quite handy about this villa that we're in is we have smaller plates than we do at home. So this is a big dinner plate. So you can see like the amount of actual space that is on the plate is minimal. So if you are looking to essentially hack your way to feeling fuller, is to use smaller plates, use smaller bowls, use smaller cutlery. If it looks like there's lots of space on your plate, you're probably going to not feel as satisfied after the meal. So would highly recommend as your meals get smaller to decrease the size of your plate as well as your portions. All right, so breakfast part 2 is coming up. So I have made overnight oats. So these are lovely. I have my toppings here, right? So essentially how you make these. So I use 75 grams of oats, 100 mils of this, okay, full fat milk. You can use low fat or skim milk depending on your calories. 10 or 100 grams of low fat Greek yogurt. It could be this one, or it could be another one. And then essentially just mix it all up in a bowl and leave it in the fridge overnight. Also use a little bit of salt in it for taste. I add some of these, and now I'm going to add my toppings. So I'm going to add some frozen raspberries as well as some white chocolate. So you will know that I've replaced the maple butter. The maple butter is gone, but I'm using 50 grams of these. To get the same amount of calories in maple butter, I'd have to be able to use 10 grams. So I'm swapping out 10 grams of maple butter for 50 grams of these. So this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about increasing food volume. So I'm getting more food for pretty much equivalent calories. So that's just a very easy swap. Fruit is a great addition that you can use there. And then just for the sake of being a child, I'm adding this. So yeah, I'm eating chocolate on prep 11 weeks out. Here we go. Right, I'm gonna add it and I'll show you when it's done. There we have it. How delicious does that look? Tell me about how dieting has to be boring then. So in this actual bowl here, there's only about 400 or 500 calories. So yeah, I mean, if you are suffering on a diet, it's completely your choice. Very easy to make. 100 grams of milk, 100 grams of low-fat Greek yogurt, 75 grams of oats, put it in the fridge overnight, put on some toppings, fruit, tiny bit of chocolate if you want, and there you go. Easy. Supplements, no change really here. 5 grams of this, gram of fish oil. As you know already, I am having some of these, but I'm having these first thing in the morning with my coffee and with some water. So yeah, I've already had that. So with breakfast done, it's time to hit the gym. So I'm using this or these before I train. So you may remember the naughty boy from Nationals. I don't know how I was able to tolerate, a scoop and a half at Nationals without absolutely shitting my cacks or feeling like I was about to die. Because only a few weeks ago I took a full scoop and I generally thought I was going to have a heart attack in the gym. So pairing about half a scoop of that with the Ride On. So this is the pump product. In regards to the actual naughty boy itself, so you can see for one scoop of 14 grams, you're getting like 390 milligrams of caffeine. So it's pretty high, and I wasn't really used to taking it. So obviously shame on me for thinking I could just tolerate a scoop up front. Ride On, if I'm being completely honest, haven't really looked into these ingredients much. So, it could be complete dud, but it does seem like it does help. Definitely anytime I have used it, whether it's placebo or not, or maybe better digestion, but the pumps have definitely been real. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna have pre-workout. So half a scoop, 2 of these, and yeah, let's get it. So we are back from the gym now, and it is time for the post-workout meal. So post-workout meal is gonna be some chicken, potatoes, some broccoli, and some mushrooms. Very, very simple. I'll show you when it's done. So here we have it, people. This is my post-workout meal. So as I mentioned, broccoli, we've got mushrooms, we've potatoes. So I cooked them in the microwave and then put them in the air fryer. I have coated them in some garlic salt. I also have normal salt, pepper, and chili flakes on them too. And then I have some chicken. So I did the actual chicken on the barbecue as well as these on the barbecue. And what I was talking about earlier about food volume, okay, so obviously you can see that plate again, it's full. This meal weighs over 700 grams and I'm getting not even 500 calories for it. So that's going to take up a huge amount of space in my stomach now. It's going to take ages for me to digest because there's a lot of fiber coming from the broccoli, from the likes of the potatoes too. That is definitely going to slow down the digestion time too, the high protein. So when you are looking to diet, you really should be thinking about like how big are my meals relative to the calories, because like over 700 grams to just under 500 calories, like that's a big ass meal. That's going to take me a long time to eat. I'm going to get a huge amount of satiety from it, and I'm definitely not going to feel hungry until my next meal. So yeah, gonna chow down into this as my mouth is watering. that meal was. Anyway, I remember in the Q&A that I did a while back that somebody asked me about how I manage cravings. And I think one just really simple thing that you should probably do if you do struggle with cravings is like see how big of a gap you have between meals. Because if you're just waiting until you get hungry to eat, you are probably already setting yourself up for a little bit of failure there, because once you're hungry, especially if it's been ages between meals, you're probably going to go for something that's quite convenience food. For the most part, you can get some decent convenience foods these days, but it pales in comparison to like a decent home cooked meal like the one I just made there. So I typically try to leave no more than 5 hours between meals. So at the moment I'm eating at 10, I'm eating again around 2 or 3, then at 5, and then my last meal is at 7, and then I don't eat until the following day. So that's kind of how I have it split up. So it's not really giving myself an opportunity to be really hungry. Now obviously when I wake up I'm a little bit hungry because it's been so long since my last meal. There's about 12 or 13 hours, more than 12 or 13 hours between my final meal and my first meal of the day. But when I wake up I usually have some coffee. The Ohimbine also suppresses my appetite. So yeah, if you find that you struggle with cravings, you find that your food choices are not the best, see how well you're doing with the meal time there. Like, it is very much the cherry on top. Like, calories are probably the most important thing, but if you are finding yourself struggling with hunger quite a bit and then making the poor food choices, look to see how long you have between meals. If you're having like 6, 7, 8 hours between meals, that could potentially be an area where you're falling down. And then as well, if you are looking to optimize body composition, ideally you probably want to be having those meals spaced out pretty evenly to simply maximize muscle protein synthesis, getting around 3 to 5 servings of protein throughout the day. So that's going to be 3 to 5 meals. That's going to be a very easy way to spread your protein out throughout the day, as well as your calories. So yeah, that's just a little tip for you there if you do struggle with hunger. So just back from the barbers. As you can see, they did not do a great job. The downsides of being in a country where you don't speak their language, as well as don't have access to your usual barber. Look, you may think it's great being in Spain, but I bet you're not sitting at home covered in mosquito bites and having a shit haircut. Okay, so I wanted to illustrate a point of calorie density or kind of food volume. All right, so here is a bowl of these Choco Krispies and a bowl of Rice Krispies. Right, so both of these have 50 grams in them. However, you can just see by looking at this that this has far more volume than this. One thing I'll see when it comes to clients' diet logs is, like, for breakfast, maybe they're having like a cereal, and that could be like granola or Cocoa Pops, right? And these are, well, they're delicious, right? And there's nothing wrong with them nutritionally. If you are trying to lose weight, these are probably not the best cereals to go with, purely for the fact that the actual portion size you get relative to the amount of calories is very, very high. The amount of, you get a lot of calories per the actual portion size that you get. However, if you were to just switch over to something like Rice Krispies, or even something like these, or preferably if you're dieting, something like oats, something that has a bit of fiber in it, that's probably going to be a way better option. Because again, you're looking at something that is going to be able to fill you. You're going to have a good deal of it to eat for the amount of calories that you're going to have. And if you're picking a sugary cereal, it's probably not going to do much for satiety. So you're better off going for something like Rice Krispies versus something like this, or just regular Cocoa Pops. Anyway, so enough of that rambling. So meal number 3, I have it in 2 parts. So this is part number 1. So I have this, but I actually use about 1.5 of these. So I use 220 grams. I'm having some smacks. So I was having the fiber 1, if you do remember. However, again, food volume, the fiber 1 is literally about like that size. The amount of cereal I get in that is a lot more. And then I'm keeping with the frozen raspberries. So yeah, this part number 1, gonna get stuck into it now because I'm starving. So the smoothie. So we have some raspberry whey, low sugar coconut milk. We have some aradanos, or as they call them in Ireland, blueberries, and some mixed fruit. Unfortunately, frozen pineapple is like impossible to find over here. We also have a banana in there. So yeah, nice to have in the sun. So I'm gonna have this, and I will chat to you later. Just gonna pretend this is a cocktail. Yeah, so like when calories get low, it really is important that you do start to prioritize the things that are gonna make the diet easier to stick to versus the things that are not. I think people are a bit too quick these days, especially with like the extreme flexible diet approach that some people take. Like, you should be thinking of the things, as I said, that are going to make the diet easier to stick to. That is going to be having a high protein intake. It's going to have a decent amount of fiber in the diet. It's going to be having a decent amount of fruit and veg in the diet. Your first thought when calories get dropped and you go into a deficit, they should not be, when am I going to have a cheat day? They should not be, how can I fit in this food? You should be focusing on the things that are going to make you successful versus the things that are going to make it, again, harder. Okay, like, it is more than okay to have flexibility in the diet and have a chocolate bar every now and again. Allow yourself to have different foods. Like, your diet should be varied, but especially with the cheat days, like, if you need a cheat day, your diet probably isn't great anyway. Okay, like, I really enjoy the foods I eat, and I'm very lucky that I know how to prepare all this food. But then again, you watching this at home, you can get inspiration from what I'm eating. Like, I generally would eat this forever. This is a diet that I am going to follow for the rest of my life, and that's essentially what you should be trying to discover for yourself. It shouldn't be something that is specific towards a certain goal. It should be a way of eating that you can see yourself doing long term. The only difference, as you will have seen from me dieting to me when I was competing in powerlifting and I was at a much heavier body weight, much higher calories, is pretty much the actual quantity of food I was eating. The foods, for the most part, have stayed pretty much the same. That's kind of what you should be looking at. Looking at big rocks, as I mentioned, protein, fruit and veg, fiber. Fill in then the rest with different sources that you may need for like training performance. So carbohydrates are going to be key there. So having a high carbohydrate intake is going to make your training performance better. It's probably going to be better for increases in muscle mass and strength, for example, from a training performance standpoint. And then having some decent fat sources in the diet and make sure everything is varied enough. And then once you've kind of ticked off the things that are going to give you the majority of the results, then add in like your extras, the things that you just want in there for like hedonic purposes. Okay, it's really important to make sure that you're not taking a piss when it comes to having flexibility with the diet. IFIM or flexible dieting wasn't created to say, okay, we have these numbers now and you can just fit it in whatever you want. It was created so that people who were following these kind of strict diets were allowed to essentially fit in a pizza every once in a while. They were allowed to go out and have a meal that was not under a meal plan every once in a while. It wasn't meant to be something that was going to be bastardized to be like, how much processed shit can I fit in throughout the day and hit my macros? Because like, at the kind of center of a lot of this is health. Most people for the rest of their lives are not going to be bulking and cutting. They are probably want to be eating in a way that's going to support their health. So can you look at your diet and say, this is a healthy diet, this is going to support my health long term? The gains of muscle mass, the gains of performance, like, they're the cherry on top. But at the core of it is health. So do you need to ask yourself with that, like, how many foods in your diet are healthful? And if that's like less than 50%, you need to have a rethink about your diet. So yeah, that's my kind of a smoothie thoughts, and I'll catch you in a bit. I'll catch you at dinner. So final meal of the day is going to go down. So again, potatoes. So second time I'm having potatoes today. Main reason being is potatoes are so filling. So you should look up the satiety index, or you know what, I'll throw it on the screen there. So the satiety index was like a study, I suppose, of common household foods, and essentially they gave participants around 200 calories of each of these foods, and they scored them for like feelings of fullness following a meal. And this potatoes scored the highest, way higher than any other food that were involved. So that's why I'm having them. Well, also they are delicious, but delicious, filling, nutritious, fiber, vitamin C, we get potassium in them as well, other kind of vitamins and minerals too, a good carb source. And then we are also gonna have some chicken, we have some garlic, onion, red pepper, we have some chili beans there, we also have some salsa, and then some high protein cheese. I would show you the macros, but I can show you the macros here. So looking at macros on these, I showed you this in the last video, but look, per 100 grams, 229 calories, only 10 grams of fat and 33 grams of protein, pretty decent. So yeah, it's essentially going to be a burrito bowl, but instead of rice, got potatoes. And I'm gonna throw those in the microwave, then in the air fryer, and I will show you when it's done. Whoa. So there we are with the chippies. Lovely. And there we have it, final meal of the day. Again, a nice hefty bowl of food, just over 300 grams of potatoes, 140 grams of chicken, 100 grams of salsa, lots of veg, lots of goodness. It's the main thing, tasty as fuck. So that pretty much wraps up today's full day of eating. So yeah, pretty decent full day of eating, I would think. Pretty tasty nutrition. You don't have to suffer if your calories are low. I know 2300 is probably high to some people, but it's quite low to me. And I did definitely have clients who have dieted on around the same, if not a little bit lower. So, hopefully somebody out there is going to take some use from this video and some of the tips that I relayed. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm going to chow down because I'm starving and I want to just start chilling out. All right. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.